Hey, how you doing, everyone? My name's Philip McAlpin. Originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Recently retired Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. And just want to say thank you for having me on the show and looking forward to our discussion, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the podcast, bro. I mean, we had you're my first Air Force person, you know.
Ew. Kicking it off right then.
Yeah, I have a couple Air Force friends that were in Iraq or Afghanistan, but they just were like, "Oh man, I don't really have any cool stories." I'm like, dude, my podcast is not about cool stories. It's about like I say this like dramatically, but like at the same time, I'm for real survival after service.
Oh man, yeah, it could definitely get deep then, brother. But that's what kind of lured me to your show and seeing a few episodes was there wasn't any kind of like, hey, let's get this message across, or hey, we're gonna fluff up these questions to kind of prove a point or whatever, and there was no airing of dirty laundry like we just discussed. It was just, hey man, tell me a little bit about yourself, because we all have a story, and that's really is important, I believe, not only as a military member but also as a veteran now. Just share your story, man. Not everyone needs to be some Billy Badass, Green Beret that jumped into Afghanistan, single-handedly destroyed X amount of key terrain, whatever. It's hey man, we all raised our right hand and opted to serve when many didn't, and it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, for sure. That you said it perfectly. There's already a lot of podcasts out there about SEALs, Green Berets. I mean, hell, the JTAC, right? Like they're starting to make their way through. And what's the other one? CCT or something like that, right?
Yeah, the combat controllers, man,
Yeah,
absolute
yeah.
beasts and professionals.
Yeah. That's the point is like, hey, I'm not saying that we were forgotten, but it was more like, hey, like you said, everybody has a story, and this is our story about the war. It's not just about, hey man, I freaking went and assaulted, killed 1,000 terrorists. It's just,
Yeah.
some days were just boring days. There was not
Oh,
always
dude.
it was not always a crazy day out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And over something I've been reflecting on is I served for over 23 years, man, and I would say the collective time that I had, I mean, after 10 deployments, 2 trips to Korea, Panama, I would say things got froggy like maybe 10% of that time. So like everything else is just chilling with the boys, trying not to get into too much trouble, and then surviving the boredom that comes with service. So
Yeah. I saw that you were in was it a Red Horse Squadron, right?
yeah.
Where was that? Where were you at?
So I was in Las Vegas. Actually, back it up. I was in Korea when the 554 Red Horse was there in Osan, and young airman. I think I was like 19 when I went over there, and dude, had the time of my life. Found out what the Aero team was, which was Assault, Assess, and Recovery Operations team for the engineering side. And, you got to go to air assault school and all that stuff. So it kind of piqued my interest. And, man, I rode that Red Horse train for quite some time, and then found myself in the 820th in Las Vegas on the airborne team. So it was amazing, man. Enjoyed every minute of it.
I bring that up because my stepdaughter, she's in Vegas in the Red Horse. Dude, I don't even know her job though. I'd be lying to tell you if I knew what her job was, dude.
Yeah,
but she's there right now. She's been there since 20? I think like 22. I think maybe.
Okay, very nice, man.
Yeah, she's still over there.
I'll tell you what though, man, the Red Horse community is very tight knit. Like, so whether you served in one or all of them, like a few of my friends have, like, when you say it normally goes to the horse or, to the motherfucking horse. everyone that's been there is going to respond back like hell yeah to the horse. So
Yeah.
it's a good time, good community.
Yeah, I mean, I went to go visit her last year, I think it was. She graduated what is it? Y'all's leadership school to become E5.
Airman Leadership School. Yeah.
Yeah, she graduated that school there, and yeah, I mean, you guys seemed really the Red Horse was very like holding it down for the Red Horse up there, so
Hell
I thought it
yeah.
was pretty cool. Yeah, but I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you were super busy, and I know the snow was getting in the way and everything, but it's important, dude. I really want more Air Force cats on, and I think hopefully with you, you know, you kind of break that barrier a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy to be here, man, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. How did you so I was reading your bio a little bit. You joined in like 2001, but like what led you to service?
So I grew up in South Philadelphia. Kind of moved around quite a bit when I was a kid, around the area, and it dawned on me sometime in my sophomore junior year that you were either going to join a trade or you were going to find some sort of you know um, I don't want to say like landscaping because there's definitely a lot more stuff to do, but like for that time frame in your life, if college wasn't an option for me, only because one, I knew I would have partied my ass off and probably failed out within first or second quarter, but it kind of dawned on me like, hey man, let me give this military game a thought. And I had a few cousins that were Marines, and typical cliche story. They were like, oh yeah, get that Eagle Globe and Anchor and this, that, and the other. And I was like, all right, cool. But my uncle Frank was in the Air Force, and he kind of steered me like, hey man, you want to do something that not only potentially can make a career out of, but also if you decide to get out, you'll have something that's highly sought after, and skilled. And he said the Air Force does a really good job setting you up for a post-military career. Like and I don't mean that as a jab or anything. Like you were 68 whiskey, right?
Yeah, I was a medic.
Yeah. So I mean, I think like when I think of the Army and their engineers, I think either the combat engineers, which do a phenomenal job on the ground, and the 11 bang bangs, best friends. But I feel like they kind of shortchange them when it comes to preparing them outside of the career or military, because either not everything can be P equals plenty and just put a demo charge on it. You got to know the industry. You got to know particular certification skill sets that are highly sought after. And I think the Air Force did a really good job with aligning me with what I like to do, because I love building stuff, and I absolutely, hands down, am infatuated with destroying some stuff. So I think talent management wise, they hit the nail on the head with me and got me exactly where I wanted to be. And I love my career through and through as a technician in the Air Force. So pretty much, long story short, I wanted to get out of Philly and join the military and enjoy the ride, man. If you talk to any of my boys, they probably tell you like, man, I was always up to something.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Hey, you're absolutely right though. I would have to agree with you that the Air Force definitely sets you up for success post military life, and then the quality of life inside is better. I think I personally tried to join the Air Force in 2011. I think they were downsizing at the time, dude, and I couldn't get a recruiter to talk to me to save my life, man. And dude, yeah. So like the doors were always closed. I tried different recruiting station, and I was like, screw it. I guess I was just gonna join the Army. And so, but you're right though. And I mean, dude, the calling is the calling, man. Whatever branch it is, there's no jabs or anything like that. Some people decided to do infantry. Some people decided to do like pharmacy people. It's all it's whatever the calling is going to be, you know. And how does you so you I think I read your bio in your bio, it said 2001 you joined, right?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit before 9/11 or after?
Right during it. So I was in basic military training when 9/11 took place, and seeing everything shut down. The one kind of like thinking back now, the thing that disappointed me is they didn't highlight it enough. Like it was all hush hush. All you seen were around bases were increased security forces and barriers being placed and all that stuff, but they never said why. I just was like, oh man, this is, how the military gets down, I guess. So
Yeah.
I didn't find out exactly what happened until I arrived to Fort Leonard Wood, probably like 3 or 4 weeks later, and got ready for my technical training portion of my MOS or AFSC.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that kind of I remember and was like, damn, man, I wish they would have highlighted, because I think I would have been a lot more amped up at that time. It was just kind of like I was going through the motions, but yeah.
So how do they pick that? So when you enlist into the Air Force, like, did you get to choose your MOS? What is it, like the specific title of it?
So my title was pavements and heavy equipment operator. I started off as an apprentice, and then you go up to journeyman and then craftsman. So throughout tech school, before you get your MOS or AFSC awarded, you go through all the training pipeline, and when you graduate, then you get awarded your skill level, which is the basic one, three skill level, which is the apprentice, and from there, with job, on the job training and experience on different projects, you gain more and more skill, which leads to, skill level progression as a technician, but also opportunity to get promoted. Because if you care about the product you produce, obviously you're going to start getting recognized for that. So, now as far as like recruiting, I think I came in initially open general. And it was just like, hey man, just trying to, hop on the train and get out of here. So when I got to basic, they kind of gave me a sheet and said like, hey, here's 5 jobs that you qualify for. And I think one was like aircraft maintenance, and I didn't want any part of that. One was obviously security forces. That's always on there, I think. And I don't think I would have done too well in there. And then CE, what I do remember this reading on the description, like handles explosives and I was like, hell yeah. So I immediately put that down as my number one, and I got it. So off to Fort Leonard Wood I went. What's that?
What'd you say, CE?
Yeah. Oh, I apologize. The jargon, civil engineering.
Oh, okay. Cool. And and so the description was like what that led you to it, like drew you in?
Yeah. So pavements and equipment. And what led me to it was they had this little blurb in there, like handles, explosives for base denial operations and, quarry operations. And I was like, oh man, like I had this vision of, man, I'm just going to go blow up this mountain. Hell yeah, let's get after it. So I don't know, man. At the time, I knew I wanted to get a trade that I could use later on. But two, that lore of like just working with a demo really caught my attention. And I, in Korea, I went to, I got on the demo team in Red Horse. So I loved it, man. It was just a perfect timing to get me motivated, during initial entry.
Yeah. How did you take the basic training that you had? Like, were you like a pretty athletic kid growing up, or was that like pretty hard for you or anything?
No, man, it was a cakewalk, dude. It was actually quite boring. I hated it. Just to put it bluntly, like it's a a fucking clown show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I remember like folding clothes and then someone comes in and like yells and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And then someone's fucking crying and I'm like, all right, dude. Like it just wasn't challenging to me. And backing up a little bit, I rode like BMX and stuff growing up. So like, you know, doing something 100 times and seeing no success for whatever reason, I think that was already embedded in my brain. So I was just like, man, let me just go ahead and do whatever they're asking and I'll do it 100 times. And I don't care if I'm, you know, it's exactly what they're looking for, but let me just get through this. But I remember several times, dude, like sitting there thinking like, what the hell and why are we doing this? And it was a lot of marching and like, you know, preparing for graduation, like after the second week. And it's like, all right, dude, I just want to check this box and get the hell out of here. So
I assume they, excuse me, they make you do like a PT test, like obviously learn Air Force history. Do you guys have to like shoot a weapon or anything like that or no?
Yeah, it's very basic though. It's not like they call it like Warrior Week. I don't know if they still use that terminology or not, but they'll hand you like a dummy rifle and you'll go to the range that one day. And anyone that there's quite a few that have never not only touched a weapon, maybe even ever seen one, that are on the range. It just scares the hell out of you. But I grew up hunting and shooting guns and stuff. So, you know, of course I had to show them what was up and get that marksmanship and all that shit. But
your instructors, are they all like different type of instructors? You know what I mean? Like, are they like different MOSs and stuff?
Yeah. All across the board, man. So what I know now, you know, as a senior NCO and then also as a senior enlisted leader, man, like those positions, they get filled by very talented people that show, you know, that drive to have an impact on the force. And it can be from across the force, any MOS, AFSC, and pretty much during my time, if you're selected, you were going. They just needed it. I think because of just the amount of personnel that were coming through the start of GWOT and preparing the force for not only Afghanistan, but Iraq. That's what I know from it now. But from across the board, man.
Yeah, what basic? I'm very curious, man, because I like I said, I have no Air Force people on. What is like basic Air Force tasks that like you should know? Like for example, like the Army makes you read a map, rifle or marksmanship. What do you guys have that's like basic course?
So I would say now I would say air-based defense. Like y'all go out and you are, you know, the ground combat force. Our combat is, you know, in another country or terrain that we're in conflict with. Our bread and butter is going to be to launch and recover aircraft. So we will be fighting from our installations that can launch and recover aircraft. Now you're going to have those onesie twosies like AFSOC, the PJs, the CCT, the TACP, all those super HUAs that go out there and grind it out with y'all. But
I didn't want to laugh, but the super HUA comments.
Yeah, dude. Man, they love their berets, man.
Yeah.
But you know,
hey, it's just like the security forces, man. I don't mind clown on those guys, but dude, I'm like, man, y'all are really rocking that thing, dude. Some people are like this with their berets.
Dude,
I'm like, man, y'all are really.
I'm like, when I would walk around, I'd be like, yo, dude, you're not in the 82nd there, super duper. Like, simmer the hell down. Yeah, because you know the 82nd, they rock that shit to where it's like covering their damn eye. Can't see nothing over here, and it's like, dude, how are you even looking? right now, but
it's just a fad, dude. You know, like the
yeah.
security forces are like, hey, just just here, take the ID, bro, and
Yeah,
let's go over their life, dude.
now there's a few dudes that I met that are security forces that I had the privilege to serve with, and they were they were badasses. They
Yeah,
had ranger tabs and free fall and all sorts of shit. And I was like, damn, man, like it's pretty awesome.
yeah.
So
We're not
what
knocking you
I
guys, but we are just laughing. That's it. We're not knocking you guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I mean when I highlight that is that there are opportunities across the board if that's what you're looking for. Because I remember talking to a lot of junior airmen, and they just seemed stuck, like in day to day robot type, mindset of I just want to get through this day, this 9 to 5, and then repeat cycle the next day, man. And I wasn't about that. I always wanted to kind of challenge myself and
Right.
pursue the next goal, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. So when you finish like basic training and you go to you said Fort Leonard Wood, I think you did, and
Yeah.
you what is like your advanced school? What is it? What are you guys doing over there?
So we're learning how to operate backhoes, graders, excavators, tractor trailers. Um, Pretty much all the pieces of equipment will operate at our home station or garrison.
Yeah.
And the difference between the Army and Air Force, I also found, was a lot of stuff is contracted out through DPW on Army installations, where if a water line or water main is to break, or there's a piece of the runway that needs to get repaired, it's our job to go out there and repair it to ensure that, again, we can launch and recover aircraft. So if a water line's going to the pilot's pre-brief facility, and that water goes out, that could potentially impact the mission for them. So we're out there, 2, 3 in the morning, digging a hole and fixing a pipe.
Hey, I think
So,
honestly, I think that's a genius idea. I've always said that you guys do it the best. Like you guys are probably the most self-sufficient branch in the military.
yeah, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. I think there's a lot of stuff from my time with the Army that I absolutely loved and tried to bring to the Air Force a little bit. I mean, the mindset's not always there, but man, when I would get people amped up to, go do a ruck march or some sort of difficult PT iteration, carrying dummies and all that stuff, like, it motivates those who truly want to be there for the right reasons, not just to, oh, I'm getting my college paid for, or, anything else. Because in the end, if you get called to, go and fight our nation's wars, that's pretty much what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So I hope you're there for the right reasons. You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. When you finish like school, when you finish your schooling and everything like that, you're going to Korea, correct?
No, I went to Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas,
Okay.
North Texas first, but man, I met some awesome people there, and it was the perfect installation for me to get down the basics, because it was a training base, a bunch of students running around. So the threat really wasn't that high for me fucking up.
Yeah.
But I will say it did get kind of cumbersome, like boring, and it offered plenty of opportunity for me to go to Dallas and get into trouble if I wanted to, which a few times I did. But what happened was there's this program called the A-76, and pretty much they do a cost comparison on what it would cost to keep a contract force there compared to a civil engineering unit. So switching pretty much from active duty military to contractor and guard and reserve personnel to make up that workload. And when that took place, pretty much our chief at the time was like, hey, who's looking to get out of here, because once this initiates, you're going to be locked down for 3 to 4 years until they're done with this study and decide. So as soon as he asked that question, I rose my hand, was like, hey, I want to get out of here. And I had orders within, I think, a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself on my way to Korea. So yeah.
How was what is y'all's like? So since I would assume the Air Force is very like job focused, like you guys aren't doing a lot of dumb tasks, or is there a lot of dumb Air Force tasks you guys got to do?
There are, but it's not like anything out of the ordinary. Like I would see, like the Army has basic soldier skills and stuff like that that they have to master. But ours is pretty much, once you graduate tech school, is becoming as proficient as you possibly can with being able to execute your job. So, we'll have training to where, like, part of my specialty was airfield damage repair or rapid runway repair. So we would simulate like a crater blowing up on the airfield, go out there, do all of our PMCIs, check our equipment, convoy out there, on base, and get to work as quickly as we can in repairing that, whatever the issue is that they task us with. Okay. But I would say ours is becoming that technical expert in your field, to the best possible extent you can.
Yeah. So what was the major difference when you went from North Texas to Korea? Like, what did you notice in the operation of the unit?
Dude, so Red Horse, do you know what Red Horse stands for?
I definitely don't.
Okay, so it's rapid. Yeah, rapid engineer deployable, heavy operations repair support engineer. Okay. So I still think, I hate the fact that there's 2 engineers in there. I think they need to change that last one to experts. But they are the bread and butter of, some people kind of rag on us saying, oh, you're not combat engineers. But from my experience and during my career, we were always out on, clip missions, the convoy logistic patrol missions, running material all over Iraq and Afghanistan, building sites, whether it be FOBs themselves or, precision ground surveillance sites, a ton of stuff under that umbrella. But Red Horse, man, it was anything from demo to well drilling to, we had our own logistics personnel, our own vehicle maintenance. Like, they were the most self-sufficient unit I could have ever imagined being a part of. And they did it incredibly well and efficient. Like I said earlier, very tight-knit community, and everyone wanted to be there and just rock it out of the park, no matter what task was given to us, whether in garrison or, if we were TDY to, base X, Y, and Z on the peninsula to knock out, stuff for the combatant commander's vision and intent on the peninsula. So, man, it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I had a great year. And boy, did I get accustomed to soju.
Yeah, I really enjoy Korea too. So when you is this your first duty station where like you find out you're gonna go deploy overseas, or obviously you're overseas, but deploy to the Middle East?
No. So actually, in North Texas, I went over to the Middle East, and it was from what I remember, because they all kind of started meshing together. There was a lot of boring times and a lot of runway expansion to support different aircraft.
Okay.
So I want to say we had refuelers at the time, which makes sense. So some of the runways that we were supporting couldn't assist or support those airframes. So we were pretty much expanding the tarmacs, the runway itself, building parking aprons, and it was a lot of work, which I enjoyed because I felt like I accomplished something. But man, it didn't leave much time for anything else. And we had
Where was this at?
my first one I think was in Bahrain. So they had a camp. I want to say it was Camp Oasis. It was out in the middle of nowhere, so it wasn't like super bougie. It was, getting out my temper tent, going to catch a bus, going out to the flight line, and doing construction work. So
yeah, I mean, you guys did establish the main flight lines there. So I mean, that is a big accomplishment. That's why we, as the United States military, we can get in and out of a lot of stuff. So
yeah.
So since you're in the Middle East, like, did they tell you were gonna go over there? Like, hey, the war is heating up, so you're gonna end up going over there, or?
Yeah. So I actually volunteered for that one because we had a member that was dealing with some issues, and he wanted to be there for his family, which is completely understandable. And now being on the other side, I respect, even more so. That I said, hey man, I'll take that deployment for you. I have no problem going. I'm single. I don't have a family. I will definitely head out the door. And I want to say I got notified. It was like a Tuesday, and I was out the door that following Monday. So it was pretty quick, man. It's not. It's definitely more onesie twosies or small teams compared to the Army, where it's a battalion size element, brigade size element, and it's a MOBA process, getting all those skills and moving equipment and stuff. So I was out the door pretty quick on that one.
Yeah, I do find that interesting that you guys do. How you guys go? Like, I think it's like maybe like 2 or 3 of y'all will go deploy, and then you guys all meet up somewhere, right?
Yeah.
A
lot of the time it was in Al Udeid Air Base. We would all kind of collectively meet up there, be mostly there for about a week, maybe 2. If we're waiting on aircraft or whatnot, and then we would fly into the actual theater of Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And then so you go to Korea, you're in Red Horse Squadron, right?
I loved it.
So, loving the squadron. Like, are you getting promoted during this time? Like, are you making your way to get that way?
Yeah, so that's where I got my first taste of, man, I need to step my game up, because there was a lot of really good NCOs there that I was fortunate enough they took me under their wing and kind of showed me the ropes. Hey, you can do dumb shit, but don't do this dumb shit. But also made me want to pursue being that technical expert. So they always challenged me. And then that's where I spent my, E2, E3, E4 time. And then when it came time to leave Korea, that's when I found out that I made E5 and was prepared.
Hey everyone, just wanted to hop on here real quick and give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Craig Fleming at Fleming's Cleaning. Please go ahead and use code word GWOT13 for 10% off your next commercial or residential cleaning if you're in the San Antonio area. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. We are now on Apple Podcasts, so if you're an Apple user, go ahead and follow us over there. We have every major social, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Please go ahead and give us a follow over there. Drop a comment on how you're enjoying these episodes. And with that, let's continue the episode.
Parent to attend Airman Leadership School and also so on staff sergeant. So,
right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So how do you know? So like you've been through a lot of different bases and stuff like that. How do you know when you're gonna go to the Middle East? Like, what do they select you? Do you volunteer? How does that work?
So normally there's a tempo band that says, hey, you're in this tempo band. You're going to deploy for 6 months. Normally you'll come back, probably stay. The other tempo bands will deploy. You have about 12 to 18 months. I've seen it down to 6 months before. and experience that depending on, people falling off or, dealing with certain issues, injuries, deaths in the family, etc.
Yeah.
But normally there's a tempo band of you'll deploy for 6 months and then be home at home station for 12 to 18 and then deploy again. So it's never really a surprise unless you find yourself PCSing to a high ops tempo unit, which, Red Horse normally had to be out the door if something arose within 72 hours. So again, you had to, keep sharp and ready just in case the flag went up to head out the door. So
yeah. I know on your questionnaire, you said that you were kind of addicted to the deployment, right? Like going overseas and stuff like that. When
man.
Was it after the first one you realized that, or was it like
no? The first one, like I went there and I was proud to, have played a part in that deployment, but it wasn't until I got to Iraq, Afghanistan, multiple deployments in those theaters to where, like, going with the Army and running convoys and seeing how they operate. And, hey, man, do you want to be gunner for this mission? I'm like, well, shit, man. No one ever asked me that before. Hell yeah. Like, let me get up on that saw, brother. Like, so it was like eye-opening to see how the joint force operates because, collectively, everyone needs to be purple because it's not going to be the United States Air Force going to war or United States Army, although sometimes, at ground level it will seem that way. But from the 30,000 foot view, our combatant commanders are moving those chess pieces and orchestrating what it's going to take to win the war. So once I had that perspective, man, and that seed was planted, I remember there was 4 years where I volunteered every year to deploy, and I got it, man. Like, and I absolutely loved it, but I didn't realize what it was doing to me until after my 2011 deployment to Afghanistan, to where I just felt like I came back and everything kind of just changed for me as far as my perspective with deploying or feeling motivated or wanting to continue to maybe even serve, because I just felt so burnt out. And that's when I decided to take that airborne instructor position and kind of get off of the line for a little bit. So
yeah. Where was your first what was the word I'm looking for? Kinetic deployment to?
I was in Balad, Iraq. And that's when I was with, I believe it was the Triple Nickel Engineering Battalion.
Oh, 10th. I think it's 10th Mountain right now. No, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. It may have been 10th Mountain. Again, they're all kind of bunched up, but I know I spent time with the Triple Nickel, the 20th. And I do have a 10th Mountain combat patch that was presented to me. So, yeah. I'd have to look at my my awards and stuff, but yeah.
I have a question though. So when you find out you're going to Iraq with the Army, like, or do you have senior leaders telling you, hey, this is what you're going to be doing over there, or is it like totally brand new, or what?
So at the time it was the LNO taskings, and that was like a liaison. So OpCon and TACCon. For OpCon, I still reported to the Air Force within our chain of command for whatever unit was in Iraq at that time. But TACCon, I was with the Army day in and day out. Whatever they needed me to do, I was expected. I remember running 916s on, Route Tampa. Just I say it now, but I was pretty amped up and nervous because at that time IEDs were pretty hot and heavy. I did route clearance missions, carrying a up armored front end loader, just waiting for a Husky to get hit.
Yeah.
And when that damn thing fell apart, I go out with forklift, chase down tires and wheels and all sorts of shit, try to get it back on the tractor trailer and get back to base. So
this was like 05, 06 or what?
Yeah. And then I went back again in 09, and that was with the 732nd, and that I believe was with the 20th Engineering Battalion. And they had, everything there from the sappers. And, I was just always fascinated with how many different specialties and MOSs. And, it was like one big orchestrated, masterpiece, if you will.
Yeah. When you first get to Iraq, that first time around, what rank are you?
E5.
Okay, so you're E5. You're going through it. Like, how do you know? Like, what makes you feel, hey, I'm in Iraq right now?
Dude, just I remember the first time we were preparing for a convoy, and man, I'm a staff sergeant, which everyone thinks I'm an E6 in the unit, but I'm an E5, and I'm a newly minted E5, so I'm just calling that out. So everyone's kind of looking to me like, oh man, this, that, and the other, and I don't know shit. But I'm watching these guys, and they're doing their grass drills, and I'm just kind of paying attention, keeping my mouth shut, and just kind of going with the flow. But dude, man, there was like specialists that knew those pieces of equipment inside and out.
Yeah.
That I was just like in awe of, like, man, again, another opportunity to, like, put boot to ass, and I need to step my game up here. But after the grass drills, we all got together, we all did our prayer, and we were just waiting for clearance to go out and conduct our convoy, man. And I think it was at that moment I was like, dude, shit could pop off pretty easily over here, whether it be IED, small arms fire, ambush, because you heard of those things in a unit, man. And that's when I was just like, all right, it's go time, man. Time to put up or shut up and, take this shit as seriously as possible, because what I found out later on in my career, it could be that one day that, people are relying on you. And if you don't show up, man, you just let everyone down. And I that's when the seed was planted that I didn't want to be that guy. So,
yeah. And you're pretty young too, or you're like 21, maybe 22.
Yeah, I would say I was 22.
Yeah. And I mean, I say this to everybody, there's nothing better than actually doing the job. That job,
Absolutely.
right? Like you're doing it in real time. There's nothing ever going to compare to it.
Yeah, and when you're learning little tricks of the trade, like headspace and timing on the 50, and you're learning how to unload, and like you're learning all these extra things that you take lightly in garrison, but when you're doing it and you're about to move out the gate, like it all kind of dawns on you, like, yo, man, if shit hits the fan, you may be called to do what the nation needs you to do, not just what you want to do. So yeah,
absolutely. And how does it feel as a young E5? I would say I don't know, this is probably just an opinion, or maybe just the way I'm looking at it, but like, hey, you probably did more kinetic activity than a lot of airmen out there, and that's something like to be proud of, right? You did what the nation called you to do and everything.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, just being young and kind of motivated, I kind of got a little cocky and had a little bit of an ego, especially in like airman leadership school, when the instructors, like, maybe some admin, and they have like, 6 ribbons, and I'm a E4 with like 12, and like I'm walking around like Xerxes and shit. But put all that ego and shit aside, man. I felt incredibly grateful at the end of my career that I had the opportunity to do and see so much. And I had so much appreciation for the Air Force when I took the uniform off, that it during all the boring shit, all the dumb shit, it was those times that kind of got me through a 23-year career successfully, and with a full heart and a a great experience to reflect back on. So
For sure. So is it the same deployment where you get your? I mean, you have a lot of Army awards or like badges too. Like you got your cab, right? Is that where you got your cab on this deployment and everything? Or?
No, the cab didn't come until later. I don't even think it came. It was out at that time. I want to say that was in
showing your age a little bit,
2009. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and now there's like expert soldier badges and all this shit, and I'm like, oh man, I remember it was cool to me because I was in Iraq. I think it was the second time, and we we had a few ticks. By that time, I was probably on my fourth or fifth deployment, and it wasn't a big thing to me. Like, yeah, we returned fire and did all that, but the Army did a job on presenting those cabs. Like, they had an official formation, and the brigade commander came down, and he was pinning on all of them and presenting us these, certificates. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is badass. Like, I was like, we don't have any of this shit. We didn't even have the Air Force Combat Action Medal at the time. And like, to get that presented in that manner, in that environment, it meant a lot. And I think that's also where that connective tissue of me wanting to continue to pursue deployments with the Army and be integrated more in that joint force. I think that the seed was planted at that time too.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So when you're going through your careers, right? You go to Iraq a few times and stuff like that. When do you go to Afghanistan?
I was in Afghanistan in 07? Yeah, and I was with Task Force Phoenix at the time, and that may have been 10th Mountain. I maybe have been confusing those, but
what would you say that was different comparatively?
So obviously the terrain, but also the Afghanistan, it's not like, hey, in Iraq, you could just convoy all over the damn country because it's majority of it's flat. Right. You go up to Gob and, on the outskirts, I'm not even going to mention the Korengal because those guys, that whole area is reserved for the absolute heroes that own that territory, and God bless them. I know a few of them, but you can't just like drive all over that country. I was on a flyaway team, so hey, X, Y, and Z needs to get fixed, or QA, QC needs to take place on this project. I would hop on a 60, fly down there, spend a couple weeks there, and then come back. So kind of a hub and spoke environment. But going from FOB Lightning, where I'll never forget, and I don't want to name drop, but this Army Lieutenant Colonel was on the bird, and I was looking at my portion of the project, which would have been earthwork and redirecting a wadi and all that. And I remember him looking at me as we landed, and I have my pack for like 3 weeks. And he's like, hey, man, if you need to take a break, you let me know. And I had no idea what the hell he was getting at, but that FOB was like up there in altitude, and I got maybe 150 feet, and I was just like, oh God. And he was, power walking up there trying to prove a point. And I was like, man, these dudes are animals up here. Yeah. So, getting to experience that, and then going all the way to Herat on the opposite side of the country, doing it sounds crazy, but possibly hundreds of convoys in Kabul, Bagram, Camp Phoenix area, just getting our commander to either meetings or, going down to Bagram for, supply runs because we're waiting on X, Y, and Z parts to come in to finish a task. But just the overall experience, like as soon as it was another oh shit moment when just random sporadic mortar fire coming in, and at Bagram, like that, whatever. But out on the like Fob Rushmores, was that Fob Sharona, Fob Zermatt, like those ones, like, man, that was pretty fucking close. Let me go ahead and do what they're telling me to do and get cover and all that stuff, or sporadic small arms fire.
Yeah.
So when I went there the first time, it was kind of like a wake up call. But in 2011, when I went back and we were, tasked to set up a lot of those PGIS sites, that's when shit kind of, I was like, man, we're going to have our first KIA on our team, that I was like, oh shit. Because they put those damn things out, not in the best of areas.
Yeah.
And it was a humbling experience, to say the least. So
yeah, those PGs are definitely, like, I get the lack of a better terms, I'm gonna say it, the Haji magnets, right? Like, as soon as they come down, they're aiming mortars at it, they're shooting at it. That's like, that's their time to attack you.
I will never forget when we set up the fob, because it has to be a secure site. So we did all the bells and whistles for that portion of the fob. But when we did our test run, I think it went up like 300 feet. It was only up there for, I want to say, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe even less. And when they brought it down, it had over 100 holes in it, because they were just trying to shoot it out of the sky, man. Yeah. And we got rocked with mortar fire that day and night. And yeah, it was for that entire time. Once they knew what we were doing in there and we did the test run, every single day we had small arms fire or some sort of indirect fire. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What part of Afghanistan were you at?
That was in, I think, Paktika, at Fob Shia Choi. Yeah,
you're getting it over there. I mean, I can understand. That was probably our worst mortar attacks, is when it was down, and it's the scariest feeling in the world. Yeah,
yeah, man. And also, like, the RPGs, and I'm gonna call what it is. When you are in a small fob, such as we were at, and you see, the Army counterparts that are like down to get after it, and then you see the A&A kind of tuck tail and fucking run. That shit was really disheartening at that time, because for majority of the day they were sitting around, lounging around, just fucking off. And then when we absolutely needed them, and a gun was supposed to be up, whether it was a 50 or a 249, 240, zero support from them guys. And to be honest, I would have loved to have fought a few of them. But that was like another wake up call. Like, man, fuck. Just to put it honestly, like an fuck moment. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something too, right? Like, I didn't go to Iraq, but what I've been told, it's more of like, hey, these people in Iraq were more happy that we were there compared to Afghanistan, where they were going to be scared anyways of what they were gonna do. But I mean, it's part of the culture over there, because I mean, the Taliban's a fighting force for years.
Yeah, and they Afghanistan is land of 100 wars, and no one's been able to conquer it since. And just that terrain, and I kind of nerded out over some of the stuff, but like I've read The Bear Went Over the Mountain and stuff in preparation to go on those deployments. And you kind of study the Russian TTPs, and you see why it didn't work. But it was the same shit that, all the way back to Alexander the Great, that fell in that trap of, man, those winters are brutal. And they're gonna dig in, and they're gonna dig in deep, and you ain't gonna beat them. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, you said it better than I would have said it. It is very, I think it's messed up how they just don't want to fight, man. It's kind of weird. Like, it seems like they already know they're gonna lose.
Yeah, especially with someone as determined as the Taliban or any other terrorist or extremist organization because they've been in there so long, and there have been other occupying forces in Afghanistan, and they fought, the conflict, and they departed. So it was just next man up, which happened to be us after 9/11, and it was kind of same old to them, because a lot of those guys, they were fighting as kids, but they were never going to defeat the Taliban. So yeah.
When it went in your 2011 deployment, you said when you came back, you kind of got like that combat fatigue, I guess you can call it. And
Yeah.
well, what do you think is the reason on that deployment that made you get that way?
It was ebbs and flows, man. Like the super highs of going out there and having like super successful projects such as the PGIS, and then coming back and just kind of like, all right, what's the next task? And you kind of hit those like, well, this is fucking boring kind of mindsets, and it's less like, man, like if I'm not gonna do and be out there supporting the cause and the effort, like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I want to go back home. But I'll never forget, because they chartered, because when Red Horse deploys, we do it just like the Army. The whole unit is going to deploy. So 400 or 500 personnel hops on a plane and gets out of Dodge or goes in the theater. They chartered out a flight from the location we all got together and right into Las Vegas, which was an absolute shit show. There was, I shit you not, there was like strip club limos waiting for our unit to get back right outside the gate, because they knew it was going to get rowdy. So
let off some steam.
That was a whole nother story. But I remember the chill I had going down my spine when we landed and I got off the plane, and how much Las Vegas resembled the Kandahar terrain.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment, like when you're supposed to have that release of like, oh shit, I'm back home, like I can decompress a little bit. I don't think that ever really left. And there was probably a time or two that I should have sought help, but I never wanted to be like, potentially had that target on my back to where like, hey, we got to take Mac out of the next rotation or whatever, or potentially get DNIF from my jump status, or be removed from the team. So I did the shitty thing and decided to self-treat and go into alcohol and just being a rowdy ass dude for the remainder of my time in Las Vegas. Which, looking back on it now, probably wasn't the best idea and really didn't support the underlying issues that I was dealing with, because those resources are out there and they are willing to help. But, you really have to have a heart to heart with yourself, drop the ego, drop the persona, and realize like, hey, seeking help is a strength. It's not a lymphac, and you're only going to come back stronger. I just wish I would have sought help a lot earlier in my career and had some of those resources and tools available to me that I found later on in my career.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to bring up. It's like at some point, your career gets in the way of your health, right? And you got to make that decision, and it's a very important decision. At the time we kind of just hyper focus on our career, but the long-term effects are going to affect you really, really hard.
Yeah, and like when you said the addiction to deployments, like you don't realize the toll it's taking on your body to wear all that armor, helmet. You're gonna start getting those pains in your neck or your lumbar, doing all those convoys and missions for 7-8 hours a day, and just picking up your bags and straining your shoulders to throw them in the vehicles and shit. Like, it does take a toll. And what I found on the opposite side is your body will respond and remember, putting on that ruck march, putting on that helmet, and the psychological effect and the hormones that are dumped in preparing you for that potential fight. It kicks in automatically and you don't even realize it. So it is a lot of moving parts that you just don't take either seriously or take notice to when you're young and just wanting to get after it. So
you hit the nail on the head. It's like I call it the survival mode, right? And when you're on these multiple deployments and you're young, you only know one way, right? Your was it your parasympathetic nervous system, I think it is, and like you're just continuously, you like it, right? You like that feeling, and then you don't know what it's like when you come down from it. What do you do? You want to go back and keep going up and up and up and up.
Yeah, and like that's what I found, and why I said it was like an addiction, because there was nothing that would suffice or give me the fix that high was. I've done scuba diving. I've done shark encounters in the cages and stuff, and in Hawaii, and I was always looking for the next fix, and I never stopped at hey, why am I doing this? And later on in my career, once I had a few episodes where it literally felt like, how they say, you never know how full someone's cup is until it starts overflowing. Well, mine felt like a 5-gallon bucket, and someone just picked it up and launched it down the street, and I was all over the damn place, man. So yeah.
When you came back home, were you married or anything? To kids?
Yeah, I wasn't married to my wife Joanna just yet. We met and were dating for a few years, and then I got orders out to Las Vegas and asked if she wanted to come along. I deployed, and I deployed to Panama and came back, and we got married. And then we didn't start having kiddos until my time at Fort Benning.
Yeah, I bring this up because, like, that we talk about that high and your emotions, right? You dump it and everything like that. It does take a toll on your loved ones too.
Oh man, absolutely, 100%. And from my perspective now as a senior enlisted leader, I have to say that I absolutely 100% agree that the spouses and the family members, the dependents, serve right along with us. They're not in uniform, man, because there was days I would come home and be absolutely beaten the hell down mentally. And my wife, Joanna, would be my saving grace during those times. And it still is. And now, now that I'm out of the military and I have time with the kiddos more, I just want to, be there, for the baseball games, the soccer games, going out on little adventures and stuff with them, and kind of take more notice of what truly is important and stay on that focus. So, I mean, it comes with its challenges, but yeah.
How was your Syria deployment?
Oh man. So tremendously successful, and I am absolutely grateful. So when we talk about being in the right place at the right time, I felt I was the right person at the right location, hands down, at the right time. So I was there during the Battle of Araka, and we went from our landing zone, which was a dirt landing strip, went from receiving 4 aircraft maybe a week to receiving 14 C-17 landings a night, just dumping howitzers and munitions and everything in preparation for the Marines and the soft units to just take rocket and decimate the ISIS forces that were in those areas. And man, just going there with my knowledge from not only being a equipment operator, contingency airfield payment evaluator, or just my deployment experience, but also having the knowledge of Pathfinder school and seeing the picture from that 30,000 foot view and being able to troubleshoot left and right I loved it.
Right.
Like, hands down, it was the best experience I could have thought of going into that theater. I had the ear of not only my squadron commander, but also the group. I was able to write effective RFIs and like equipment taskings. I was able to forward deploy to another landing zone and get that one set up. I was able to go to Rocket itself and see the beautiful yet devastating work that our combat forces can and will do if tested. And it was just absolutely humbling to see and be involved in what took place there. So, man, Syria was a badass deployment. I loved it, man.
What year was that?
2017.
Oh, okay, that was like what, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it filled that void that you were feeling, from the other deployments?
Yes, absolutely. Like my garrison unit commander, he was like, "Hey man, what do you want to do?" And he set up training. He allowed me to set up training iterations, convoy ops, get with our EOD techs, just have an efficient run up for the team that was going with me. And I'll never forget the day he came down to my work center and he was like, "Hey Mac, I need you to come with me to our readiness cell, which had our our skiff where we would go in and see what was going on, or deployment taskings, et cetera, et cetera." And he was like, I'm reading the task and I'm like, hell yeah, supporting Special Operations Task Force Syria, this, that. And he's like, "Are you interested in taking this one?" And I was like, hell yeah, like I want that one. Like, and he was like, "All right, man, you got it. Like, what do you want to do? This, that, and the other." And he allowed us to go to shooting courses and all sorts of stuff. Now, granted, after probably a month and a half there, it wasn't exactly what I envisioned, but the mission was absolutely imperative that we were ready to get that LZ up and operational at a moment's notice. So there was plenty of times where, I was woken up out of my cot. Yes, the Air Force slept in cots. And they're like, "Hey man, we got a C-17 inbound. The touchdown point is looking pretty shitty. Can you get out there?" And man, went to work, had a great team with us that did a lot of great work as well. And we just made that LZ green at any cost. So it was awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Very rewarding.
Right. So was that like your last like official like combat deployment?
Yes.
Yeah. And so when you're coming down right from the high we were talking about, did you also have experienced any bad like mental health things or anything like that? Or because you're coming, this is like what, 2017, so you got like what, maybe 7 years left?
Yeah. So I was I didn't realize it again, but there was nothing I found after that time frame, because I was an E7 at the time, and because of all the success, work that I was able to do there and our team was able to get done, I was recognized. I ended up getting a BSM which I believe got me promoted. I ended up having tremendous success that year in recognition. I was selected as a 12 Outstanding Airman of the Year. And that led to my promotion to E8, I believe. But at that time, it didn't dawn on me that this is it. E8, you're not out there, getting after it. Definitely sure as hell not as an E9. Yeah. And I think that's what I wasn't prepared for mentally. And I just always wanted to stay in that bubble. and continue to deploy. And as time went on, the obviously you're going to be satisfied helping other people out, being a good, effective leader, taking care of people, what's entrusted to you, your commander, etc. But I wasn't feeling that my core needs were being met. And I think that's when I became a little dissatisfied with continuing to serve after all that. So.
So you made it all the way to E9 though. So like, was this like a build up? Excuse me, during your EA career, like, hey, it's not gonna get any better.
Yeah. So it, the military does a really good job with presenting these carrots and be like, hey, you want to do this? And I got asked if I wanted to put in for the U.S. Army Sergeant Majors Academy. And not a lot of people know this, but the Air Force selects 2 members a year to go and attend the year-long PME course, which is the Sergeant Majors Academy. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was in my first year as an E8, and I got selected for this. So it went. My E8 time was like a blink of an eye. It seemed like, and then when I became promotion eligible in my second year, I got picked up for E9 my first time, which is a blessing. But again, it took me even more out of it. So when I stood on E9, I went to Korea, and I think that's when, it started to dawn on me like, hey, I got to go to staff meetings. I got to do all the, dog and pony shows and the bullshit that none of us really want to do, but, we'll play good airmen. And I love the mission out there. I love the unit I was with. I love the people I was with, but it just wasn't meeting my needs, and a little disdain started to kind of grow within me during that time in my career. So,
yeah. Well, so you obviously where did you finish your Air Force career off at?
In what was it, the United Kingdom at Royal Air Force Station, Mildenhall.
Did you kind of feel yourself like, you weren't being the best senior enlisted person around?
That's exactly how I felt. Like I was, motivated. I think a lot of people saw that. Like I tried to give it my best, but to be real, which is important to me, I felt like I was faking the funk. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to portray that I was just some suit. And just going to all those staff meetings and the same bullshit. And there's some other things that like were taking place at the time, with the, DE&I and transgender movements and all that shit that I wasn't feeling being a cheerleader at the time for that shit. And I was just like, no, I'm not supporting any of this. So,
yeah.
And I want to make this abundantly clear. You can feel a certain way about any of that. If you're good and you're an able body and you're dealing with any of that stuff, I'm all for diversity, equity, and inclusion, or you being a transgender, gay member, whatever, in the United States military. But when you start becoming a distraction, like, oh, I got to go through hormonal training and I can't, deploy for a year, or I cannot PCS or be deployable for over half of my enlistment, I have an issue with that, because now you're just a body there that can't really do anything and is taking up a manpower slot that could have been a strength for the unit or team. And I'll just leave that at there. But I fully support anyone coming into the military and being able to be ready at a moment's notice to move downrange and fight and win our nation's war in any capacity. And that's where you earn my respect if you're willing to do that.
Yeah.
With whatever background you have.
Yeah, and I think that's something to highlight too. Like, you see me laughing because like I never thought like senior enlisted were like, man, I hate dealing with all this politic bullshit.
Oh, I fucking hated it. I'll bluntly say it. Like I would sit there and evil eye some of these cats. Like man, get this bullshit the fuck out of here. Like, what the hell are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was go up to the demo range, blow some shit up, have a great time, you know, lead and create the next generation of effective warfighters and leaders and have a great time doing it. But man, every staff meeting to me was absolutely soul crushing, to where I started looking at leaders like, not only do I not respect you, but man, if I seen you out on the street, I'd probably punch you in the throat just for the dumb shit that's coming out of your mouth. And some people may feel some sort of way with me being that blunt, but that's how I felt at the time. So,
no, dude, I'll tell you, it's funny, man, because like only had like one other like E9 on, and it's always funny to hear that y'all really hate all that shit. And well, at the time, you know, us like we were like, dude, why do y'all love this so much? Why do you care about this and everything? And it's a dog and pony show, like you said. And
yeah,
you know, I appreciate you being transparent about it. But when you get out of the Air Force, how are you feeling?
I was still wound up pretty tight.
You've been out already.
It'll be a year in March.
Oh, damn. So it's fresh. It's fresh.
Yeah, it's still fresh.
Uh-huh.
So wound up pretty tight. I feel like I'm just now starting to, you know, kind of take that ruck off, you know, open up the vest, get that breathing, that breath under me. But, I will say it is absolutely imperative to take that transition assistance program seriously, to start developing your network, and also see not only what opportunities are out there, but also what you find purpose, joy in, and what you think is going to bring you happiness in the next chapter of your life. Because the vets that I talked to today, in any capacity, whether it be through the VFW, you know, just out and about on base, occasionally, a lot of them are still getting their souls crushed because they can't find that niche. Yeah. And it's not the niche of, oh, I did this, you know, job for 23 years that I didn't really like. Let me still continue to pursue it. Like, you can be, you know, that E4, E5 that had minimum leadership experience, but found so much joy in it, and be competitive in the civilian sector doing that. Like, you don't have to stay within your MOS. I would say a lot of E4s and E5s have more leadership experience than some of these, you know, newly minted entry-level master's degree personnel that, you know, think their shit doesn't stink just because they have a degree on the wall. Yeah.
So how are you dealing with it though? Like you spent a long time, what, 23 years, I think you said, 23 years. And you noticed a big change, right? 01 to 2024, different uniforms, right? Different people, right? You're going through a lot of stuff like that they started that. I mean, that transgender thing wasn't a thing when you started, you know?
No.
And then you finally get out into the world, and the world adapts faster than the Air Force does.
Yeah.
Right? So like, how were you coming down from the fact that, hey, nobody cares that I was an E9, right? Like, it's kind of like, oh, well, now I have to just fit in with society.
Yeah, I have struggled with that, and I do deal with some anxiety in social situations, just because you don't know how extreme someone is, and I hate that we're so divided on certain things. But, you know, if you're willing to have some dialogue and like talk it out, and still with some respect find some common ground, like, that's where I'll jump right in and have a conversation. But I don't respond well to people that have that, you know, tunnel vision, or that single thought process, or are very closed-minded and are not willing to have a talk. So normally when I see or get the gist that, like, oh, this is what that individual is about, I have to say my give a fuck meter is damn near zero to that. So I know in certain situations I'll just end up walking away from a conversation. But I have had days where I've slipped up, you know, either in a work setting or in talking to a civilian, and just like started, I felt the knife hand start to come out. Like, man, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear your dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I get embarrassed by that. But ebbs and flows, man. That's what this whole year post-military career has been about.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's important to get help for stuff like this, like how to decompress and everything?
Oh, 110%. And it may sound like some foo-foo cliche bullshit, but man, keeping a journal, when your mind starts to, starts racing, like mine feels at times like it's going 100 miles per hour in 10 different directions. And from a senior enlisted leader E9 perspective, I should have absolute control of this, but not having those tools prior, because you always want to be that that example, that out front leader that has all their shit together. But having those tools of something as simply as writing stuff down, or having that trusted circle of our tribe, if you will, that you can open up to and legitimately get different perspectives, or just have someone ring you up and like, hey man, you kind of sound like a little bitch right now, and being able to get a laugh out of that, it really drives home just how important that circle and those little things are in order to be effective post-military career.
Yeah. I think it's important what you said, right? Like have a tribe, like have somebody you could talk to, because I think that's what we deal with too, like with our veteran suicide, and it's just they just don't reach out, and it's important. It's important to be vulnerable to to the people you trust, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, look, dude, I don't know you from anywhere, and we're on here an hour 20 minutes, and I mean, we're having a pretty good conversation, man. It's important, people can relate, it's important.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And just you're in Texas, correct?
Yeah.
And you grew up there?
Yes.
Yeah, so like just finding common ground, and what a lot of veterans, I feel like they're either trying to one up each other, or just have like this guard up, man. Like, hey, dude, we should embrace each other. Like just the other day, man, I had a full heartfelt hug with one of my boys, man, and it was just like, man, it's good to fucking see you. Like, and making like a decisive effort to continue those relationships, man, because next month I'm actually flying out to Dallas to have some fun with my boys, man. There's like 8 of us meeting up, man, and just having that time to kick back, relax, have a few beers, and get somewhat rowdy. It makes all the difference when, again, you're dealing with the minutia of the civilian sector or post-military.
Yeah, for sure. What give me some advice you would give like people that are still struggling with that. Like you came off the high from the wars and stuff like that. There's people that are still struggling with that. What would you tell them?
One, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Two, you have to literally zoom out, or have that honest to God discussion with yourself and say, hey, and what I am doing now hurting or helping me? Because like I said, I went down the road of coping with alcohol, absolutely destructive. The skydiving thing, like I feel it every single day because I was trying to find that niche. I was already airborne, and I was taking that toll on my body, and then I was still doing that outside of the duty days. So slow it down and come up with a game plan, chart your course on, hey, is what I'm doing now helping or hurting me? And then identify some of those obstacles that you can navigate and have a blessed life afterwards, to where you can look back and cherish the moments that your military service provided and be proud.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
there was a lot of times, man, where, especially in the Vegas setting, where I took it a little too far and had some nights where I was just an absolute shitty airman, coming in, probably hungover. And I could have easily just said, hey, raise my hand. Like, I still want to be here. I still want to be a part of this team and unit. I just need to take a knee and get some resources thrown at me, which, at that time, my supervisor, recommended me going to be a, resiliency training assistant, which later became me becoming a master resiliency trainer.
Yeah.
And that provided a ton of, experience and perspective, but also tools that I still use today, like cultivating gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got 2 last questions before we wrap this up. All right, give me some dad advice.
Oh man. So, I read this book, Raising Boys, and I didn't know that boys' attention spans are 3 times shorter than girls. Had no idea about this. Scientifically proven. So when I'm sitting there repeating myself constantly, which is something that I would think should only take once or twice, I find myself repeating. So exercising that patience and getting to know your child for who they are and what's important to them, and being patient with that and nurturing and allowing them to grow, I think is incredibly vital. Like, I have one son that absolutely loves to run. Ball of energy. He runs, he swims. He does soccer. He's going to be an amazing athlete. I have another son that just loves baseball, does not care about anything else except baseball. So kind of, playing a puzzle, putting together the puzzle to keep them motivated and focused, but also just letting them do their thing, man. If they want to be a goofball on a field one day, you don't need to be that authoritarian, like, stop playing with the grass, like sergeant majors always do, stay off the grass. Yeah. But just cultivating that environment for them to learn and grow is absolutely vital. And I think I have to give the absolute kudos to my wife. She definitely holds it down in a lot of the, parenting aspects when I was gone. But also to be the best possible father, you have to allow the mother to do their things and what's important to them and what they find important. So that's my other piece of advice. But also, I'm big on raising the next generation of men. So I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for them. I'm not going to sit there and, let me fold your clothes and shit when you're 15 years old. Like, no, my 11-year-old keeps his room spotless, and all I have to do is say, hey, it's time to clean your room. And they fold their clothes, they do everything, and they're becoming awesome and independent little men. So it's awesome to see and experience.
Yeah. On the topic of your wife, give me some husband advice.
Dude, I failed in almost every aspect of this, dude. So I don't know if I should be giving out advice at all, but know, love, and appreciate everything that they do so you can continue to live the military way of life that you love and cherish. Yeah. There were so many times that I wasn't there when I should have been. And I look back and I kind of regret, putting other things as a priority ahead of my wife. But I know for a fact that I would have never reached the success that I had in service without her by my side. And also, I would never have the beautiful home, boys, and future that I'm blessed to be a part of without her post-military. So Yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have any questions for me, brother?
Nah, man. I appreciate what you're doing and having these dialogues with veterans. I hope that even one thing that kind of I shone light on helps someone out that may be struggling with it. Or lastly, just the opportunity to, have some time with a fellow veteran and brother that um, I could tell your head and your heart are in the right place, man. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate this, man, and I hope we continue to be friends. Philip McAlpin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you already made it this far, go ahead and hit that subscription button or follow if you're on Spotify. Share this content. Once again, hit us up on all major socials. I'm always looking for guests. Thank you so much for checking it out. We drop a new episode every Wednesday. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode.